How's it going, guys? aRenG Live here, and today we're gonna be looking at the best cards in the new set, Blades of Spirits. Now, as you can see from the cover image here, we're seeing 6 Sams are finally in the game. I knew for a while that 6 Sams were coming, but I did not know when exactly, so I didn't want to say too much. I did talk about Hazy Flames coming to the game, which they're coming in this set. So this is a pretty decent set to get if you are interested in one of a few different archetypes. If you're interested in Harpies, there's a bit of Harpy support in here. If you're interested in obviously the 6 Sams, which is the main, I guess, thing that you're looking for in this set, pretty good thing to aim for. We are also getting some Dino support, some Hazy Flame support, some E-Hero support. So we're getting a little bit of everything in this set. It is a mini box, so let's go ahead and just get things started. Let's start looking at the best cards in this set. Starting off with Great Shogun Shion. Now, this is going to be one of the URs in the set. Obviously, it's one of the best because this is the boss monster, or at least the current boss monster, for 6 Samurai. 6 Sams are always kind of shifting. You're always getting new 6 Sams. Even now in the current TCG, we're playing, I think, Shadow 6 Sams, so it doesn't matter, man. We're still getting more 6 Sams. So, and I actually do play 6 Sams, or I had played 6 Sams. I have a deck for it in real life. Screw it. I'm gonna show you guys. As a proof that I got 6 Sams. We're gonna be relying on this guy in the future. This guy's gonna be a thing. I actually did have a 6 Sam deck. They're basically these guys. I'll get in the light so they're not so gross. So look forward to seeing more of those in the future because Konami never lets up on them. And also look at my cut. My cat scratched me. Look at that. Look at that. My cat's a jerk. All right, but besides that, we're gonna go ahead and look at the effect of these guys. I had shown you guys that I have a synchro variant because 6 Sams are always going to be changing. Right now we got this as their boss monster, but later on this guy's probably going to be irrelevant. For now, I'm going to go ahead and read his effect. He's a pretty good card. To be honest, he's a really good card. If you control 2 or more, or basically 2, because if you have more, you can't bring this guy out. You can special summon this guy from your hand. Your opponent can only activate 1 spell or trap card each turn. So I think that's pretty cool. That's his main ability, is you can bring him out and then he has the ability to lock down your opponent so they can only use 1 card to pretty much stop you. I think this is what makes this guy pretty good. He also does shut down your opponent's plays. I think if your opponent would be using something like Cyber Angels, they can't go into multiple cards. They would have to bring out Dakini right away. So if you do have a good old-fashioned econ to just stop them in their tracks, that's a pretty good way to do it. So Shion is looking pretty good for stopping some cards in the meta, depending if you're going first and then you can get this guy out ASAP. Alright, but whatever. I'll go ahead and talk more about 6 Sams in the future, but for now, we're gonna go ahead and move on. Next card we're looking at is a card called Elemental Hero Neos Alias. Now, this card is actually really cool. I can already think of a few cool ways to actually run this guy, because this guy is a Gemini. This guy's a Gemini, and he's basically like a mini Neos, kind of, he becomes Neos. So his effect is basically when you Gemini summon it, so when you do the second summon, this guy becomes E-Hero Neos while it's on the field. So on the field, it basically becomes Neos. So it's basically a Neos that you can just summon. It's a 4-star 1900 Neos. If you run this guy with like Supervise, I think this guy can be pretty cool. Running triple Neos Alias, triple Supervise, and a Neos Spatian type deck, you can definitely do some crazy shenanigans. Having him fuse with some Neos Spatians, and then he'll come back because of Supervise. You'll be able to fuse more. I think that is pretty cool. I think this guy is actually really necessary for any kind of Neospatian deck, so I like this guy. I'm definitely looking forward to getting him. Moving on, another boss monster. We got Super Conductor Tyranno. Now, this guy is good for a few reasons. One, because his effect is a pretty decent burn ability. Sure, we got some Dino burn going on. But also, the fact that he is a level 8 Dino gives the ability for other cards that we have that support dinos to actually become live. I don't remember the name of the card, but it was like a spell that you get to banish an equal level of dinos in your grave to special summon. Basically, you can send 2 level 4s, banish 2 level 4s from the grave, special summon a level 8. That would be this guy. He's our first level 8 dino, so I think that makes that card relevant. Also, on the turn it's summoned, it cannot, I think on the turn it's summoned, it can't attack. So this guy's effect does become live because it can't attack you either way, so you might as well use his effect. So I think that's pretty cool. This guy is actually another really cool card. I'm looking forward to getting this at maybe 1 to 2, maybe 2 or 3. I don't know if I want to run 3 because this guy might start clogging, but I'll probably end up with 3 regardless. So moving on. Next one we're looking at is more 6 Sam support, even though it doesn't really say it's 6 Samurai. It's Enishi. It's a Shion card. So we're looking at another type of boss monster, kind of, and this guy is Enishi, Shion's counselor. This guy is interesting because of his effect as well. So using him with the other 6 Sams, I think he'd be pretty decent. This guy basically does state, can't be normal summoners set, must be special summoned from your hand by banishing 2 6 Sam monsters from your graveyard. I think that's a pretty cool ability. I love the ability to use your grave as a resource. Once he is on the field, so it cannot be summoned, special summoned by the way, so he can only come out by his own effect. You cannot revive him from the grave. Once per turn, you can target one face-up monster, destroy that target, and this card cannot declare an attack the turn you activate this effect. Now, I think that's really good, again, because it adds more explosive power to 6 Sams. Basically, it's been a long game, you've been grinding, you got some 6 Sams in your grave, bam, you get to special summon this guy from your hand, you get to pop an opponent's monster on the field, and on top of that, if you have, maybe you already had a 6 Sam on the field, you get to go for Shion from your hand, the other Shion at least, yeah, Shion, you get to bring him out from the hand, so that can add a real explosive power to the 6 Sam deck. I think 6 Sams are going to be really, they're going to be the new Glad Beast for a while. Because each one of them has a really cool ability, like bouncing stuff back to the hand. But moving on, another SR, this guy is the Immortal Bushi. Now, I think this guy is not that great. I mean, this guy might be good in his own situational kind of deck. I think this guy is basically like a Treeborn Frog, maybe in 6 Sams, because they're all warriors. But I don't know, man. I think this guy might be adding some potential to maybe tribute summon. But aside from that, I don't think that this card is that great. Before it becomes the best card in Duel Links, man. But no, actually, this guy is... It's okay, but it's only okay in a very particular build that you're gonna read. Maybe like a kind of bad version of 6 Sams. I just don't see this guy being that relevant. But I don't know, man. I have been proven wrong in the past. This guy might be decent in a very niche build. But that's pretty much all I can really say for the Immortal Bushi. Kind of not that great, but if you want to run him, go ahead. Moving on, we're looking at more, I guess, trap monster effect, or more trap monster support. And this guy is Tiki Curse. Now, this does basically add the ability, it's just another 1800 trap monster you can summon. So if you want to make a trap monster deck, this guy might be necessary. So they can summon themselves, and this guy adds the ability that if your opponent's got a boss monster, you crash one of your other trap monsters into it, and your monster dies, and so would theirs. That's all it really is. It's just a way to get over certain annoying monsters, I guess. But that's pretty much all I can really say about them. I should actually build a trap monster deck in the future. But whatever, moving on. Next card we're looking at is Fire Formation YuGiOh. Now, this card I'm actually really excited to see because I really like Fire Fists, and I think this card is actually a really cool lockdown card that they have. I remember seeing this card a lot in TCG. Basically, they'd first turn, or you'd go first turn, you'd set your back row, you're ready to take them on. Then they go and they play this card and lock up your back row. It's kind of like a Zing Zenhu, but for one card. And as long as this card's on the field, their monsters gain 100 attack. So, I mean, it becomes a really decent lock card. It locks up one of your cards, so now you're not safe if you play one back row. If you play two back row, you might as well play all three, but then you can get straight flush. So I don't know, man. Now it's not safe to do whatever, because you never know when a Fire Fist deck is coming at you. And I'm also kind of disappointed they didn't add more Fire Formation stuff. Maybe more Fire Fists. I would have loved to see more Fire Fists. Maybe a Fire Fist Bear or Rooster or something. That would have been pretty cool. But whatever, moving on. We're looking at them Harpy support. We got our first of the Harpy support. We got Harpy Dancer. This card basically is one of the ones that lets you go for like a Harpy's Pet Dragon or a big wind monster. That's usually what Harpies would run. They would run like a wind monster like Harpy's Pet Dragon. But, I mean, that's pretty much it. It's just basically, when this one's on the field, you can bounce back one of your Harpies or some kind of wind monster you have and special summon a probably higher level wind monster. But it could be any wind monster. But if they do get effects on the summon, there you go. That's how that would be useful. It is still a 1200 monster, but if you do have it with the right Harpy support, maybe like with Harpy number 1, it does become a little bit stronger. So there's that. So it's just gonna add a little bit more place for Harpies. But that's pretty much it. Moving on. Next card we're looking at is called Powerful Rebirth. Now this card is kind of cool. It's kind of like a Call Haunted, which brings back a monster from the grave for level 4s. So this can make like a Vorst Raider have 2000 attack or something. So because it also brings it back and gives it 100 attack for whatever reason. I don't know why, but that's part of the effect. Also, I hear there's a few combos you can play with probably the next card we're gonna be looking at. It has a combo with this where if you destroy this card, the monster's not destroyed. We got Parallel Twister. This card is what makes the other one more decent because you can basically send that card to the grave and then destroy one of your opponent's back row for free. So you still end up getting your monster out for free. But other than that, I don't know how Parallel Twister can be used because it doesn't destroy your cards. So you don't get effects by destroying, but whatever, moving on. Now we got some more Harpy stuff. We got Harpy, Cyber Harpy Lady. This is just one of those basic 1800 beater Harpies. I think it's okay. I mean, it does replace your normal Harpies, and it just makes it a nice 1800 beater. Aside from this, we're gonna go ahead and just talk about some of the best cards that I am looking at. We already went over the SRs and the URs. Now we're gonna go ahead and talk about a lot of like the rares that are pretty good, and maybe some of the normals. Alright, so let's go ahead and get things started. First one I want to talk about is some of the E-Hero support slash Neospatian. We got Elemental Hero Dark Neos, which once per turn he can target one card your opponent controls, and say if it's like a Sergeant Electro or something. Your opponent's got a Sergeant Electro, they locked up your back row, they locked up 2 of your back row or something. Pretty common thing to see. You go into Dark Neos, you negate Sergeant Electro's effect, and now you can use your back row, and you can do whatever you want. I mean, you can keep it there if you want, you can attack it, and then next turn negate something else. I think this card's pretty cool, especially if you are using with the Neos, what was it, Neospace? I think this card is probably one of the best cards that the Neospatians can kind of fuse into. Next thing we're looking at is Sabersaurus. Now, this guy is cool because it's a basic 1900 4-star vanilla dinosaur. So I think getting 3 of these would be really optimal in a dino deck. I think it with the field spell, it becomes 2200, which is probably the strongest we've seen for just a monster you can just summon with no downsides. So it's a really good addition to the game. But that's pretty much all I want to talk about. Sabersaurus is in the game. Look forward to it. Now we're looking at some of the 6 Sams that I just wanted to talk about. We got 6 Samurai Zanji. Zanji is pretty cool. This guy is cool because he's 1800, so it's pretty strong 6 Sam. Basically says that whatever he attacks, if he does survive, because they do have the ability to pretty much kill another 6 Sam instead of them. So you attack with Zanji into your opponent's bigger monster, whatever they may have. Maybe it's like a Dakini or something. You attack into their Dakini, you take the damage. This guy doesn't get destroyed. Instead, you destroy whatever's next to him, something else, and Dakini will die. Good beater and has a pretty decent effect. 6 Samurai Yaichi. Once per turn, you can target 1 Speller Trap card, destroy that target, and you must control a face-up 6 Samurai monster with a different name. Activate or resolve this effect. I think it's okay if you're just trying to get rid of your opponent's back row. The next card we're looking at is the 6 Samurai Ito. Now, this guy's actually pretty cool because this, if I remember correctly, this is the one that hates on face-down monsters. At the start of the damage step, if this card attacked a face-down defense position monster, destroy that monster. And you do have to have another 6am on your field, which is how they work, but they do kind of swarm, so you will be able to get their effects off. With Strike Armor, during your draw phase, each time you draw a 6am monster, you can reveal it and special summon it. This card is actually pretty decent. This card is pretty decent for a nice swarm 6am build. Now we're looking at some other cool support. We're looking at Fire King support, so we might be seeing more Phoenix in the future because of this guy. So this guy is basically a searcher for, I guess, Yaksha or whatever else you're running, because it searches Fire Kings except for himself. I mean, it does add a little bit of consistency to the deck, and it's also an 1800 beater, so I mean, there is that. We're also getting some Hazy Flame support. You can send one fire monster from your hand to the graveyard and tribute this card, special summon 2 Hazy Flame monsters from your deck. That's pretty cool. And I'm gonna go ahead and show off the card that makes this deck possible. We got Hazy Glory. I know they also had a similar card. It was like a spell. It's like a hazy spell or something that had the same exact ability, but this ability is you can normal summon Hazy Flame monsters for 1 less tribute. Now that makes all Hazy Flame summon monsters summonable pretty much like normal monsters. You can normal summon them without tributes, so they just come on out and they're pretty strong. They're pretty strong and they're unaffected by other card effects, so it could be pretty difficult to get over them unless you're beating them down. So I think this card is going to be really good in Hazy Flames. Definitely run 3 of this. Run 3 of, because this is really important to have in the deck. When this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can add a Hazy Flame card from the deck to your hand. You can even search for Hazy Glory. That's what makes this guy pretty cool. Last card we're going to be talking about is Elemental Hero Neos Knight. I think this guy's from a movie. I'm not 100% sure. But this guy is basically a hero, a Neos fusion. But this time, it's Neos that you can run in a like legit polymerization e-hero build, because you fuse this guy with any warrior, and this card has a really cool effect. It's basically this card gains attack equal to half the attack of the warrior type monster used for its fusion, except for Elemental Hero Neos. So cannot fuse Neos with Neos. You can, but he won't gain the buff. So you can fuse it with anything else, maybe just some really strong warriors you run in your deck, and it can make a second attack during each battle phase, and your opponent obviously takes no battle damage from his attacks. There is that trade-off. You can make this guy like 4,000 easy by fusing it with like that 3,000 attack warrior that came in the Joey deck, but it can't deal damage. So, but it can run over anything. So there's that. All right, and I think that's pretty much it for today. We did cover a lot of really good cards in this set. The ones that I did talk about are basically the ones that I'm looking forward to. I actually talked about pretty much all of them, but I've had to cut out quite a bit because it was getting really long. I was running on like 50 minutes of recording, but that's pretty much it. If you guys enjoyed, go ahead and leave a like, share, and subscribe for more Duel Link shenanigans. But anyway, thank you guys for watching today. Have a great day, and see you guys.